what I'm going to do today is I'm going to work on making a tote for this saw. Now, I got this out of someone's yard. They had a bunch of junk out in the yard, had a free sign on it. I saw this, I stopped and got it. Now, it's a 24-inch by 4-inch back saw, and it's been out in the weather a long time. The tote is just totally destroyed. Part of it's missing. It's just really weathered, not repairable. I've got this piece of wood here. It's cherry. Now, it's only 3/4 of an inch thick, and I'm going to laminate 2 pieces of it together to make a new tote. I've got to take the finish off of it. I don't want to run it through my thickness planer with the finish on it. And that's going to be the first job, is getting it off of here. Now, I got my piece of wood squared away for the tote, for the saw that I'm working on. And I had a really hard time getting the finish off of this wood. And it turns out the wood is walnut and not cherry like I had thought. I've got a pattern. I'm using a Simon Saw and Steelworks back saw as a pattern. It's very similar to the tote that was on this saw. And I've screwed both pieces together for right now. I'm going to drill some holes, you know, different spots on here just to make it, cutting it out a little easier. And once I do that, I'm going to cut as much of this waste away as I can with the bandsaw. Now, this is what I got going on right now. I finished cutting it out on the bandsaw, and I used my spindle sander to take away all the rough cuts and everything. Now, there's a good bit left to go on it. Now, these tabs will be cut off later on after it's glued together. I've got screws in there to hold it together and keep it aligned. And so far, so good. Now, I've done more work on this tote for this back saw that I got. Now, I did the holes. Not real happy with the way they turned out, but that's on me. And I cut this mortise in here for the back to fit into. I also made the cut for the saw blade to fit in. Now, the holes line up fairly well. They're not horrible, they'll work. About the only thing that's left is just do the rounding over, and there's not a whole lot on this tote that needs to be rounded over the way they were made. You know, back here, this needs to be rounded over. In here, there's a bit of a relief cut right here on it. I don't know if I'll do that or not. It's not really necessary. And then there's a slight bevel that's put on this front edge and down. It ends down around here somewhere. I'm just going to basically base what I do on the original tote that I copied this from. And that'll be it. Now, I didn't video any of that because I just thought it took a long time because I'm going slow with it. And I'll try to show some of the stuff that I'm doing now to it. You know, I don't want the video to run terribly long, and again, rounding all this stuff over is going to take some time also, but I'll see if I can, you know, do a little bit of it anyway, just to kind of finish it up, and then we get it all sanded down, we'll put some finish on it. Alright, well, I'm finally ready to put some finish on this tote. I spent a really long time sanding on this thing, and hopefully it's going to look okay. This wood's really dry. I don't know how old this stuff is. You know, I mean, it's sucking it up big time now. I'm pretty happy with the way the tote turned out. And it's the first time I've made a tote for a saw. You know, the holes were the biggest problem. I got them a little off, but it wasn't a big deal. All I had to do was just take a rat tail file and file out the hole a little bit, just so the two pieces of the nut would line up. So it wasn't a big deal, and I've learned a good bit. Hopefully if I make another one, it'll turn out better than this one. Alright, now this is the final on this Vermont American back saw. The tote is finished. I ended up putting 5 coats of linseed oil on it, and then I finished it up with a coat of paste wax. Now, it turned out pretty good. I had a little trouble with a few minor things on it. The holes, I got them a little off, but I was able to clean out the hole with a rat tail file and make them fit without any problem. Now, it turned out okay. I'm pretty happy with it. I learned a lot by making it, and if I make another one, it'll be a little bit easier than this one. Now, this is 2 pieces of wood laminated together, and I don't think it'll be a problem, and we'll just see what happens along the way. If it delaminates or whatever, it shouldn't be a problem. Anyway, that's to finish up this. This is a 2-part video. The first part is about cleaning up the blade, removing the rust and getting it back in shape, and then the second part will be the tote, and it'll just kind of go over some of the stuff that I did to get to this point.